Morning dear students, happy to see or meet you all once again for an interesting English session. Today's class will be for class 10 students and we will continue with the lesson of Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom. If you remember, in the last session, we discussed a few things about this great man, the hero of South Africa, who had been an inspiration to not only South African people but for the people all over the world, across the globe. And we know why he became a hero. He became the first black president of South Africa, and through his presidency, the people of South Africa got the right to vote, and that was a milestone in the history of the political history of South Africa. Now you see, we began with the inaugural speech of Nelson Mandela. He was there in the Union Buildings. He was there in the amphitheatre, which went by the name Union Buildings, and that was located in Pretoria. Pretoria obviously is a big town in South Africa, and it was here the inaugural ceremony took place. And now, while Nelson Mandela was addressing the international dignitaries in the building or in the amphitheatre, he could see the aeroplanes or the jets, helicopters and a few planes flying in the sky. Now, why were they flying? All these jets and helicopters and fighter planes, they belong to the military or the army of South Africa. Now that the rule has changed hands, the army was once again seen over the sky. I mean, the jets, helicopters and warplanes were seen flying over the sky, and they were the men, the soldiers who belonged to the army, were trying to pay their respects by accepting the newly formed government. So, the army leaders, they pledged their loyalty, they pledged their devotion, and they promised their service to the newly elected government, which was going to be headed by Nelson Mandela. So there was a chevron seen in the sky. What is the meaning of chevron? It is an arrangement of warplanes in V shape. So during the Republic Day celebrations in India, sometimes we can see this V shape of flight of the aeroplanes. So a chevron was there, and that was really an imposing sight. People were so much thrilled to see the army paying their respects to the newly formed government. And the military's loyalty was once again emphasized, or the military's loyalty was dedicated to the newly formed government, which was going to be headed by Nelson Mandela. So, the army was paying its respects, and two national anthems were sung in the amphitheatre. What are the two national anthems? One was the South African national anthem, which was sung by the whites, and it was Nkosi Sikelel Africa. Probably it was written in one of the South African languages. And the whites were singing this particular national anthem. And the other national anthem went by the name Dies Step, probably a Latin name. It was the old national anthem, and this was sung by the blacks. So here, the point to be noted is that both the whites and the blacks, they came together and sang the national anthem. So, once again, for a recap, Nelson Mandela is there to begin his inaugural speech. The amphitheatre, the Union Buildings, which was located in the Union Buildings in Pretoria, was packed with audience, including several international dignitaries belonging to several countries, and over the sky was seen a spectacular display of the airplanes, the jets and helicopters, all the army men, the leaders of the army, accepting the new rule which was going to be headed, the government which was going to be headed by Nelson Mandela. And Nelson Mandela begins to make his inaugural speech, and while he makes the inaugural important points. He invites the attention of the people to this Anglo-Boer War. What was this Anglo-Boer War? If you read history, you will come to know it was a war fought by the British and the Boer states. There were so many small states in South Africa, and the English people wanted to bring all these small states and form a single government whereby the whites would be ruling over the blacks of South Africa. And after this English-Boer War, all the white leaders, there were many factions or many groups. So the leaders of all these factions, they came together and they formed a single white government. So this white government became a nightmare for the blacks of South Africa. So many leaders had to sacrifice their lives. Many had to come out to the street and protest vehemently, violently against the white rule which was established after the Anglo-Boer War or the Anglo-Boer War. Right. Now Nelson Mandela says the system, the rule that was introduced by the whites is no longer there. It has come to an end. It has disappeared. It has vanished. It is no longer going to be practiced in South Africa, and the present system recognizes the rights of all people. You see, under the leadership of Nelson Mandela, when the new constitution of South Africa was formed, new rights came into being, and the most important of them was the right of the blacks to vote. So they gained their identity. They were considered as human beings. They were considered as the lawful citizens of South Africa, and they exercised their right to vote. So Nelson Mandela makes a mention of that. So he says the old system is out, the white dominant rule is out, and a system or a government which recognizes the rights of all people has come into being. So it is a dawn in the independence of South Africa. The dawn represents the new rule which recognizes every citizen in South Africa, be it the white or be it the black, as a lawful citizen. And the most important point is he thanks all his colleagues and patriots who fought for the independence of South Africa. So it was not a one man's effort. So it was not a one man's effort. It was a collective effort. It was the effort of several hundred South African leaders. So Mandela had spent 27 years in prison, and it was not only Mandela who underwent torture and suffering and subjugation or domination by the whites, but there were many people who gave hands, who put their heart and soul into the independence movement, and they fought together. So he mentions all his patriots. Some of them are no longer there. They are dead and gone. So he's missing them. But he doesn't forget them. He tries to pay his respects. He tries to pay his respects to all those people who had a fair share in fighting against the white rule. He recognizes them. He honors them. He thanks them. And he shows his gratitude towards all these patriots, comrades or colleagues who fought the independence, a fight of independence. And he says, I am representing all those people who are no longer here. So they were fighting, they laid the foundation for the independence of South Africa, and today we are reaping the fruits of their labor. That is what he said. They worked, and today the result is that we are going to be a free and independent nation. So he thanks these patriots. Who are these patriots? Oliver Thomas, Walter Sisulu, Yusuf Dalus, and quite a few of them are there. You will find all the names in the book when you read the lesson. So this is an important point. Nelson Mandela doesn't take the credit for himself, but he shares it with his colleagues and patriots. He gives them due honor, due recognition, due respect, because without South African blacks would not have been a reality, would not have become a possibility. Okay, and then this point is to be noted once again. The colleagues, what did they teach him? They taught him courage, they taught him wisdom, and they taught him generosity. So, these are the virtues which became the consequence or the result of the independence movement. Courage, wisdom, and generosity. And he also says, oppression creates men of character. So when you go through trials, when you go through hardships, when you fight for a cause, when you dedicate yourself to achieve something, then character comes in. So character always comes with hardship. It is not just you become a man of character or you become men of character overnight. It's not possible at all to fight the oppression, to sacrifice your life, to come out into the street with your values and principles. That creates character in men. And it was because of these sufferings and struggles and tortures and intimidations or domination of the white that these qualities of virtues were planted in the hearts of all his colleagues. So always remember, if you want to become a man of character, you have to struggle for that. You have to work hard for that. Alright? Now comes another important point. You know, South Africa is a mineral-rich country. They have some of the world's best diamond mines, the Kimberley diamond mines. So the best quality of diamond comes from South African diamond mines. But Nelson Mandela says, more important than these diamonds, greater than these diamonds, are the people of South Africa. Because without people, without citizens, the country becomes dead, the country becomes meaningless, the country becomes insignificant. It's not important. So what is more important than the greatest of all wealth is its citizen. And Nelson Mandela says, I am proud to have my people, the citizens of this country, as the greatest wealth. They are more important to me than diamonds or minerals or whatever metals may be available in the country. So this is a point to be noted. Greatest wealth is nothing but the people of a nation. And then he also mentions, as I have already discussed, his friends stood an example for patience. They bore the attacks. They were brutally beaten by the police. They were imprisoned, but they did not react violently. You see, Nelson Mandela took Mahatma Gandhi as his master. So if you go to South Africa today, you will see a beautiful statue that has been raised in memory of Mahatma Gandhi. So Nelson Mandela imbibed the qualities. He took great lessons from Mahatma Gandhi, and the greatest of all lessons was the lesson of non-violence. So he and his colleagues fought in a non-violent way for 27 long years, and the result was that South Africa became an independent nation. And let me invite your attention to the last part of today's session, and that is Nelson Mandela's opinion or definition of non-violence. You see, no one is born to hate another human being based on the color, based on the religion, or based on the background. When we are born, we are not born to hate. And we are never taught to hate somebody on the basis of the color and the religion and the social background when we are born. These are man-made concepts. These are man-made ideas. These are man-made notions. You see, by birth, all of us are equal. None is superior to the other and none is inferior to the other. That is what Nelson Mandela wanted to tell us. All are born free and all are equal. So the question of discrimination based on color, caste, religion and culture has no significance whatsoever. And you see, love comes more naturally than hate. This is a point to be noted. You see, love comes more naturally, but hate has to be forced. love need not be forced, it is there. And if you want to love somebody, it has to come automatically from the heart. It is not coming from the mind. Love never comes from the mind. Love comes from the heart. So it is easy for all of us to love somebody that we hate. So I think you must have got a clear picture about what we discussed today. To give you a recap, Nelson Mandela was there addressing the gathering in the amphitheatre in the Union Buildings located in Pretoria, and the army paid its respects and it accepted the new form of government. It pledged its loyalty to national anthems were sung, and Nelson Mandela speaks or makes a mention of the Anglo-Boer War. The English people wanted to establish their supremacy over the Boer states, and after the Boer War, all the whites came together to form a white rule in South Africa, and that became the testing period, or that was exactly the most challenging part for the blacks who were there living in South Africa. So the blacks, they put up a protest, they fought against the white domination, and as a result South Africa became free. And we must also remember that Nelson Mandela does not forget his friends who took part in the freedom struggle, and he mentions a few of them. You can go through their names in the book. And then he also says oppression has taught him some valuable virtues: courage, wisdom and generosity. And the most important point to be noted is that the greatest wealth of a nation does not lie in its mineral or in its monetary wealth, but it lies in its people. And the last point, but not the least one, is love comes more naturally than hate, and no one is born to hate the other person based on the color, religion and background. So I think we shall wind up today's session with this. In the next session, we shall be getting into some finer details or more important details as far as the struggle or the freedom struggle of South Africa is concerned. Till then, take care and goodbye.